Buenos dias. Good May, everybody. This is Charles Cook. I am here today to talk about immigration. We've got a couple things on the agenda for today. Put up some information about me. Maybe I did this right here. Can't fix that. I'm the managing partner at Cook Baxter Immigration, law firm of about 50 people, doing just immigration law to help our clients navigate this nightmarish immigration policies that we currently deal with. Let's talk about a couple things, but I'm going to do a little bit in Spanish, but mostly in English today. So voy a hacer un poco en español, contestamos preguntas en español, pero voy a hacerlo en inglés también. Last week I did it all in Spanish, so this week it's in both. So don't worry, you'll be able to understand. For those of you who speak Mandarin, I'm sorry, that was yesterday, and you can talk to our associate Christine. She's awesome. So let's talk about the first thing today, which is how to make the government make a decision. So here's what we learn, what we know. For example, getting an employment card or an employment card renewal is taking 8 months. You can only apply 6 months beforehand. So how can you possibly not lose your job or not have a driver's license? It's an insanity. It's insanity. It's taking, who knows, a couple of years to process a green card. That's unacceptable. I mean, all they got to do is literally check some boxes. They don't even need to interview most people. Why is that taking so long? Why is it taking 2 years to naturalize somebody? Why is a travel document taking 6 months? Why is DACA taking 10 months to renew when you can only renew 4 months beforehand or 6 months beforehand? So why are consulates not issuing visas? Why aren't they working? Well, as many of the listeners here know, we sue the government regularly. We have a very robust practice. This is not something we just picked up during the pandemic. We've been doing that for 30 years. And I filed literally hundreds of lawsuits against the immigration agencies, the Department of State, the USCIS, the INS. And we do this because it is the only way to hold government agencies accountable. La única manera de llevar a contable los agentes del gobierno no está con sus jefes, es en los cortes, en las demandas de litigación, forzándoles de hacer algo en un tiempo normal. Just because the government says, oh, it's reasonable, we're taking 8 months, so why should you cut in line? 8 months is not a reasonable period of time, frankly, for anything. Now, the fact that the government agencies are terribly mismanaged, they did not run COVID properly, and this is a problem before COVID, by the way. That's an excuse, not a reason. So that's not my problem. That's my client's problem, and it's got to be your problem, government, to fix it. So it's not a question of just say how long something takes. It's what does historically something take to do. An EAD takes about 15 minutes. Remember, the government has actually told us how long each process takes when they justify their fees. They tell us how long it takes. Now, the fact that they're so poorly managed, they didn't hire enough people, or they fired too many people, or Trump screwed stuff up, that's not our problem anymore. So if you're waiting a really long time for something to happen, sue them. There's no negative consequence. They don't, oh, you sued us, we're going to delay your case. No. That doesn't happen. Llevando demandas no daña un caso. Ellos no van a demorar su caso porque llevaste una demanda. De hecho, típicamente lo harán más rápido. Typically, the government's not going to even fight because they know they don't want bad case law that says taking a year is too long to do a case. They don't want that case law. They don't know what the judge is going to do. So our experience has been, certainly pre-COVID, is just sue and you probably just get an answer and get a decision, especially if you're like waiting on a naturalization decision or you've been interviewed for a green card and it's been a year. They're not going to defend them. They're not going to go to a federal judge and say, Judge, we interviewed them, but it takes a year to decide their case. No, that's not going to happen. Sue them, you get results. Absolutely. All right, so that's item one I want to talk about. The second thing I'm going to do in Spanish first in English. La segunda cosa que quise hablar hoy día son por los que tienen hijos que han llegado a 21 años que son ciudadanos de los Estados Unidos. Esta semana he hablado con 10 personas cuyos niños ya han llegado a sus 21 años y vienen, ya abogado, ya entiendo que niños de 21 años pueden pedir a sus padres. Y mi respuesta es sí, absolutamente. Los niños de 21 años que son ciudadanos pueden pedir a sus padres, pero eso es parte uno de dos partes. Segundo parte es el padre o la madre. ¿Cómo vas a usar la petición de su hijo? Porque hay que entender la ley. Si entró al país indocumentado, no puedes arreglar aquí, punto. Sino por algunas excepciones. La excepción, una, es que usted es un beneficiario, directo o indirecto, de una aplicación pedido por familia o por empleo antes del mayo 1, abril 30 de 2001 o antes. Si eres beneficiario de esto, ya puedes pagar la multa y arreglar aquí. Si entraste legal, puedes arreglar aquí. Pero si usted entró indocumentado y no es protegido por la ley 245I, y no, usted tendrá que salir del país para arreglar. Y el problema es, al salir del país para arreglar, tendrás una prohibición de 10 años. Y no hay un perdón por hijos. El perdón por los 10 años es por esposo o esposa o padre o madre, que son ciudadanos o residentes. Hijos no pueden pedir perdón. No malgaste su dinero hablando con un abogado para que su hijo le pide si usted no puede arreglar. No van a borrar esta habilidad de niños de pedir a sus padres. No vale la pena de hacerlo, son malgasto de su dinero. Entonces, antes de pagar por una consulta y venir con un abogado, entiende su situación. Aún es posible si usted puede arreglar, si entraste indocumentado. Si entraste indocumentado está bien, pero otra cosa. Si entraste indocumentado y salió y reentró indocumentado, usted es permanentemente inelegible por la residencia, por vida. Y eso es perdonable solamente después de que vive en su país por 10 años. De ahí se pide un perdón. So what I just explained to people is I get a lot of people that come to see me to say, my son or my daughter is born here and they just turned 21 and they want to sponsor me. I said, that's great. Children at 21 can sponsor their parents. There's no problem. But that's only part one of two parts. Second part is the parents. Because you can't get a green card in the United States unless you entered legally through your child. If you entered legally with a visa, your child sponsors you, you get a green card. Just like if you enter legally and you get married to a citizen, you get a green card. It's like being forgiven. You go to a priest, you're all forgiven, you're golden. All right? But if you entered without a visa, then you have to leave the country to get a green card. Through your son or daughter, you have to leave. And if you leave and you came in undocumented, you can't come back for 10 years. Now, you can be forgiven for those 10 years if you have a parent or spouse who's a permanent resident or citizen. Children can't ask for that pardon or waiver. Children can't help you. So unless you were also protected under the 245I law, that is, you were the beneficiary of an application that was filed prior to April 30th or on April 30th or prior of 2001, and you could pay the $1,000 fine, great, that's awesome. But if you entered undocumented and you're not protected by 245I, and you don't have parents who are permanent residents or citizens or spouses of permanent citizens, you're not getting a green card for your kid. So before you spend money with a lawyer to do something, don't waste your money. Take this as the way the law is. There's no reason to be doing that. All right. The third case I want to talk about, en inglés primero, después en español, I'm going to talk about the status of, what's going on in Congress. DREAM Act has passed the Senate. There's no vote scheduled in the House. DREAM Act is for people that are DACA, that came before they were 15, prior to 2020, and they were under 16, or maybe it's even 17, under 16 or 17, they get a path to a green card. Nothing in the Senate. The Promise Act, which is for people with TPS, passed the House, nothing in the Senate. The Agricultural Worker Reform Act passed the House, nothing in the Senate. There's no other bills that have passed in either house. And short of President Biden either demanding a hearing and votes in the Senate on immigration, which he can do. I mean, Democrats control the Senate. They can have a vote if they would get off their butt and do it, exercise a little bit of courage, but they're not going to. Today, a member of the House said that unless a legalization program is in the infrastructure bill, he won't vote for it. And Nancy Pelosi can't afford to lose more than 2 Democrats. Otherwise, that doesn't pass the House. So, you know, I'm not holding out a lot of hope for any immigration reform to pass this year. Just kind of where it is. Lo que hablaba hablando en inglés es que el acta de los Dreamers ya pasó a la Cámara de Representantes, pero en el Senado está muerto, no hay nada. La promesa por los con TPS ha pasado a la Cámara de Representantes, pero en el Senado no hay nada. La amnistía por los que han trabajado en la agricultura ha pasado a la Cámara de Representantes, no hay nada en el Senado. Y honestamente, sino que el presidente se enfuerce y dice que vamos a hacer eso, vamos a luchar por esto. Aunque los demócratas controlan el Senado, son sin espina. Sin espina, no tienen la habilidad de empujar adelante con lo que han prometido a la gente. Entonces, yo no tengo mucha esperanza que va a cambiar la ley. Tendremos que luchar con litigación, con la ley que tenemos. Y esperar y tener esperanza por el futuro. Y veremos lo que pasa. Es una tragedia, porque eso es algo que debieron haber hecho sin problema. Es algo que debieron haber puesto adelante con Biden como presidente y con los demócratas en control de las 2 partes del Congreso, pero los demócratas no pueden ser líderes, no tienen liderazgo, no tienen coraje de hacer lo correcto. Ese es el plan. All right, let's get to some questions today. I will update all my Penn versus Blinken people that last night we filed the response to the motion to dismiss. So that's pending, and I think we'll get that up on the website. Hopefully that'll be done shortly, and we'll certainly get it out to all the plaintiffs. All right, so let's take a look here. Go where? Go on to victory. Goes pending. We have a hearing on the 19th. We will fight for it. Probably, hopefully it'll be in person. The government filed for an in-person hearing today for the Go case. Hopefully we'll get that in-person hearing, and Greg and I will be in Washington, D.C. on the 19th. We'll see what happens. If there is an in-person hearing, there may not be a video hearing. We don't know. I haven't been to a hybrid before, so I don't know. News on DV 2020. This is the Gomez-Acker case. No news. Nada. When do you expect the July 19th DV 2020? I don't have any expectations, Sammy. I agreed to a hearing on the 19th. Thought that was a good idea. Everybody attacked me for making them wait so long, and here we are. July 19th is coming up, and we have no Gomez hearing. How does a divorce affect applying for a U visa? Well, if you're not approved for the U visa yet, then the spouse who was not the direct victim, well, I think technically that's a good question, because I don't think it affects it, because you were clearly married when it occurred, and therefore you filed as derivative. So I think you'd be okay. But John, I would want you to make a consult so we could do a little legal research on that. First time that question's been asked, by the way. Samantha, I am not God. All right, really. Let's not go overboard here. I'm just Chuck. I'm just the guy doing the best. Do I think even high case numbers will be adjudicated? No, of course not. They're not going to get the high case numbers by the 30th. But for plaintiffs, we do believe they'll get to all the plaintiffs by July 30th. That's how cases work. Plaintiffs that win cases get their cases heard first. That's how it works, regardless of other orders. That's why for Go, we went right to the motion for summary judgment, because that's what we needed to have happen. For others, they'll take them in case order, supposedly. Although they didn't last year. Remember, there's no wait line. Everybody's current. So why is there and they've even said they take cases in order as they're ready, but they've made them not ready. So, Rahul, I don't know. We'll see. Kalish, wasn't that the character in Star Trek? Kalish? What if judge order all cases time? We will go first. I already answered that question. Mr. Cook, how are you doing? I already talked about that. Natasha, thank you, Natasha. Good to see you. Response for Rios, but yesterday, do you think it's well, keep in mind the government gets to reply. The government gets to reply. They have a week to reply. So that'll be 13th, next Tuesday. And then the judge will either he'll set a hearing or he'll just make a decision. We'll see. We just don't know what this judge will do on this case. But I think we'll get an answer. I think it'll probably be by the end of July. I really do. I think it'll be quick. I mean, there's no reason for the judge to sit on the case. If he wants to dismiss it, which I don't think he will. I mean, there's no basis to dismiss this case. Then he would get it off his counter as quickly as possible. If he doesn't dismiss it, then he wants to move it forward quicker as well. So there would be no reason for him to wait on this. Although I know we're sitting on a motion to dismiss in Fong for a month and a half, and we don't have a decision, but we did change courts. MC, ¿qué está pasando con la H2B fuera del país? ¿Están pasando? Han usado todos los H2B por el año, sino los 6,000 por el triángulo del norte, por Salvador, Honduras y Guatemala. Entonces, ¿de qué país es la pregunta, MC? ¿De qué país? Hello, dear sir. Hello, Barat. Hope you're doing well. Martha Godoy. Martha, con la carta de aprobación de TPS, ¿se puede solicitar una licencia de conducir o hay que esperar a que llegue la tarjeta de permiso de trabajo? En Georgia, típicamente requieren el permiso de trabajo, pero si tienes la aprobación, puedes ir y pedirlo. I mean, no te daña de ir allá y averiguar. Y si vas y lo hacen, llámame, díganos en el próximo Facebook Live que eso pasó deliciosamente. Will go be the final hearing? Well, it will be the final hearing, but not the final hearing. In that it's a hearing on the case. But my guess is the judge is going to rule in our favor, but then delay a final order until the end of the year and ask the government to give weekly updates on the processing of plaintiffs so that he can see the progress and see if he has to reserve any visas for our plaintiffs. All right, so there we go. Miguel Arredondo. I don't know, Miguel, pero ¿qué tal, Miguel? Marat already answered that many times. Mr. Cook, show how many gold plaintiffs from Algeria. I don't know, Khalif. I don't have the list memorized off the top of my head. More than one. Why did we file a summary judgment? That's actually really easy. Because look at Gomez. Gomez was a PI. A year later, there's still no decision on the case. And people with reserve numbers are waiting and waiting and waiting. Whereas there is no reason to go right for summary judgment. It's the same argument. So why should we duplicate arguments? And the judge gets to issue a final decision, ultimately. So that's why. And a summary judgment is a much better thing for you as a plaintiff than a preliminary injunction is. Actually, also the PI is a much higher standard of proof, whereas a summary judgment it's more likely than not. So it's 50.0%. Whereas a preliminary injunction, if you're going to quantize it, it'd be like 75% chance of winning. So it's easier to do a summary judgment motion as well. Plus, it's the same time frame. So, and the government was going to file a motion to dismiss anyway. So this gives us a chance to do the cross motions. I'm sorry, I clearly did not stop my phone from ringing, so I do apologize. So there we go. Strategically, brilliant. Malek, after winning Go, do you think it'd be suitable to make a G20 for people who were there? Look, if people want to hire us individually on their cases, you're welcome to hire us. Okay, you make an appointment. What you do is you call this number here. Call the number. You make an appointment. They will get you on the calendar with one of our lawyers. Me or one of we have 12, 13 lawyers. Forget how many lawyers we have now. And you can hire us to do the G28 part of the case. But that's not part of the Go representation. All right. No, we don't plan to do it for Go plaintiffs unless we're hired to do that. We were not hired to do that. We were hired to get this case done. All right. Let's see. Josué Muñoz, si tengo un orden de deportación, pero salí con el permiso de TPS de mi hijo. Ok, Josué. Usted es elegible de arreglar y además, bajo la nueva política de Biden, podemos reabrir su caso de deportación. Ya, llama, Josué. Eso es algo que podemos ayudarte con esto. Aquí es el número 404-816-8611 para una consulta y aquí estamos ayudando a usted, ciertamente. Ok, esto es, ¿qué más? Multi-Dexter. Hello, I don't speak Spanish. Well, good news, I speak both. When DV 2020, there'll be 9,095 visas given out to DV 2021 winners, or more. We're fighting for more. We'll wait and see if we ever have a final hearing with the judge. I imagine this may come up, by the way, on July 19th. May come up. We'll see. At least off the record, it will come up. I can't tell you if you have a chance because we don't know. We've asked the Department of State, how are you going to allocate DV 2020 numbers? And they won't answer the question. It's like, well, we're not going to have to do that. We're going to win on appeal. They refuse to deal with reality. Okay. Let's see. I don't think there'll be any updates, but who knows? Maybe the judge will bring it up. I can't bring it up. Ahmed, how long does it take to process case of summary judgment and go? Well, September 30th. I mean, I think the judge will decide by the end of the month, and then the government will have 2 months to get our cases done. They can easily process every Go plaintiff in that time frame. There is no legitimate reason why they couldn't decide everybody. Not everybody's going to win, because statistically that's not how it works. But everybody should be interviewed within that time frame. Angelica, Mr. Cook, just wondering how much longer does it take to get a USA passport? Oh my God, Angelica. Passports are a nightmare. Technically, you need a passport to cross the border. Are they outside the U.S. or inside? If they're inside the U.S., don't leave without a passport. You go to travel.state.gov and you search for passport applications. You know, if they're just really far behind. I can't even give you a number, but it's not. If you need a passport tomorrow, maybe you can pay them extra money to expedite it. They do have that process, but you got to look on their webpage. I don't do a lot of passports. I don't stay up on top. I just do my own. Let's see. Harish, more than 9 months, still some U.S. embassies like New Delhi have not processed a single DV case. Well, there's not many DV cases in India. They're almost all third country nationals. And I can't explain every consulate's reluctance to do these. But the reality is that there's no reason why they're not. There's no reason why they're not. They can tell the judge. All right, Darwin. All right, hola, abogado. Mi esposa tiene un orden de deportación en ausencia. La ciudadana que posible. Well, con la nueva política de Biden es algo que debemos explorar. Tenemos que tener una copia de su expediente, entender por qué tiene un orden de deportación en ausencia y determinar si es una opción de tratar de poner una moción de reabrir el caso. Yo les invito a llamar a ese número, fijar una cita y vamos a charlar sobre esto, ¿ok? Yeah, waiting's killing all of us, my friend. Carlos, what is the status on the adjustment of status for people with errors on cancellation from deportation, dismissed cancellation? Wow, I don't even understand that question. What is the status on the adjustment of status for people with errors on cancellation deportation, dismissed cancellation deportation? Wow, Carlos, I don't understand that question. I'm sorry. Maybe you want to ask it in Spanish because I don't understand that. 13 days looks like 13 years. Not for me. This is going to go fast. José Velázquez, buenas tardes, abogado. Si uno viaje con el permiso de viaje por DACA, ¿puede el empleador ayudarlo a conseguir la residencia? No. Pero si usted sacó su DACA antes de que tenía 18 años, su empleador sí te puede ayudar de hacer la residencia, pero tendrás una entrevista en Juárez, en su país. Juárez, típicamente si eres mexicano. Pero el permiso de viajar y reentrada con DACA se puede arreglar por esposa, no por empleador. ¿Okay? Porque tiene que ser un pariente inmediato. Es como la ley está escrito. What can we do as a community to push the Democrats? That's a great question. Call and yell at them. Call their office. Say, you know, John Ossoff, why aren't you pushing for immigration? Senator Schumer, why aren't you pushing immigration? And you call and call and call and call. That's the only way to get them to do anything. Sin vergüenzas que son. Can you go over PIP having DACA? Well, parole in place is DACA lets you travel and come in and get it and have a legal entry. Parole in place is typically people that are just completely undocumented, they can't travel, who have spouses in the military. So the questions don't really go together. I mean, if you're just asking if you have if your spouse is in the military and you have DACA, can you still do parole in place? Sure. But it's easier to do a travel document. and faster, because parole in place is taking forever right now. Osama Al-Jayar, can KCC process documents and schedule interviews? Yes, because keep in mind, they know who all of you are. They got the list. I think they're pulling the files. They know exactly who you are. And that's why we told every Go plaintiff, send your documents in. Send your documents in. Email your documents to KCC. No longer do you wait for KCC. They disclosed in other litigation that they have their email. If you attach documents, their email gets routed to the document checking people. They have 5 whole people checking documents. If you're a Go plaintiff, send your documents in. Make sure your DS 260 is done. And yes, they can absolutely do this. Absolutely do this. All right, Osama, we've got Lucia. Consider applying for AP, but I'm a single mom with a half-white child. I'm just scared. Well, don't be scared, Lucia. Don't be scared. You can get the travel document. You'll be okay. Remember, you don't have to go for like a month. You go for a day. Fly to Mexico City, fly back on the same plane. It doesn't matter. You're just going to get the entry. Noah, is there a good chance to increase the number of DV? Well, we've talked about this a lot before, Noah. We're asking for that. That's our part of Gomez. It's the ACRA part of Gomez. We'll see. I think we've got a good shot at it because I think the judge's math is wrong, which actually helps us too. This doing Go first actually helps us bring home to the judge why his math is wrong in Gomez. Think about that, because government's going to say, well, you shouldn't reserve all the visas. Why not? You insisted on not. If you'd have followed the law as laid out by Judge Maida in October 1, we wouldn't have even filed the lawsuit. You could have adjudicated all 55,000. You could have done it, but you chose not to. So there's no way the judge is not going to cut him any slack, especially because they've been adjudicating immediate relative cases at pretty high numbers. So no, I think we got a good argument. From Nepal, good to see you in Nepal. We're hoping for a positive outcome. When is the hiring of Go? I don't know what that means, but Go is already established. We're not adding any plaintiffs to that. Sorry, that is somebody that I can't talk to right now. Mimi Peralta, I filed a writ of mandamus for delayed K1 at 3 months. See, litigation works, Mimi. Individual litigation works. Sometimes individual litigation works a little bit faster, sometimes. Not always. But congratulations, Mimi. That's awesome. Liana, go back to the first part. We talked about this. Zeno, hello, DV 2020. CN, do I have a chance to go to the U.S.? Much of a chance as anybody else? I don't know. We talked about this earlier. I don't know where the numbers are. They're not disclosing that information. Okay. Zulima Simmons. Hi, Zulima. Harish Shrestha. It's our next to last question as we're closing here on the half hour. For Judge Mandelbaum, good look at what I'm suffering equally to the COVID delay in processing visas. Why will Judge Mandelbaum prioritize Go, but will he decide to process the visas without priorities in sequence? Harish, I don't know exactly what's at stake in good luck. I have not read their complaint. I do know the government thinks they're different, and their claims are a little bit different than ours. Plus, we have a final decision, not just a preliminary injunction. So we'll see. I think the judge will order that the plaintiffs be adjudicated as quickly as possible. And so that's what we're going to fight for. All right. Saludos, Marilia, ojalá que todo está bien. What is the court that is after the Federal Court of D.C. after an appeal? So we're in the District Court of the District of Columbia. The next court is the Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. And the next court is the Supreme Court of the United States. Next, I think our last question asked me do Go need to send documents? If you sent them once, you do not need to send them. But if you have not sent them, you should send them. And make sure to say you're a Go plaintiff. Trust me, they'll be able to search that out. And Zeno, when will the judge give a final judgment in Go? I don't know, but I think by the end of the month, but I don't know, could be wrong. Go plaintiff waiting for the interview date. We're working hard. I'm really we're going to get you done. Can I go on vacation to Mexico without COVID injection? This is an immigration program, not a healthcare program. But I will tell you, you'd be stupid not to get the injection. Did I say that out loud? I said it out loud. Get the freaking injection. All right. It's not a tracking device. It's well researched. You won't die if you get it. If you don't get guess what? You could die. Get the freaking injection. All right. Thank you, Christy. Well, I'm not Christy right here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in this week. I'll be back next Wednesday with my own solo Facebook Live here. But tune in on Monday night. We will have the Impact Litigation. Also, tomorrow and Friday here at 2 o'clock on this channel, both on Facebook and YouTube, we will have my partners talking about immigration, answering your questions. Till next week, everybody, have a great week. Bye-bye.